this one man do all this? How's he accomplished all this? He hasn't done it simply by his good looks and easy charm. Although he has both in ample measure. He hasn't done it simply because of the excellence of his scholarship. Although his scholarship has opened up new vistas and new horizons.
All right, let's stop right there. There was no scholarship. It's all radicalism and pushing people around with, ethnic studies, as you well know, as a pathway to a degree for those who can't pass chemistry. So, as I say to you, why invent controversy when it does not exist? And I think it weakens our arguments against the president on a real basis. Today, another example of his phenomenal foolishness, lobbying around the clock to kill the Keystone XL pipeline on an expedited basis, and he just did it. And by the way, 7 Democrats crossed over and voted with Republicans. It still wasn't enough to stop the psychotics who want us to be dependent upon Saudi Arabia and the Arabs for the rest of our life, while pushing billions of dollars into the hands of their cronies through the scam called green energy. Green energy is perhaps the greatest boondoggle in the history of the American political system. Now, Karl Marx wanted to liberate the proletariat from bondage. That's pretty well known as, Communism 101. Thank you, Beowulf Rockland, for reminding me of that. There was a cartoon by a leftist cartoonist that was so hilarious the other day in the LA Times. I posted it on Michael Savage. And it shows, the headline is Republican leaders let Rush Limbaugh dominate their party. And it shows a rotund man in a black mask with a black vest wearing an S&M outfit with a whip. And on the bed is a fat elephant tied to the chain to the bed. And the man in the bondage outfit says, "Now roll over and hold this aspirin between your knees." And the elephant says, "Oh, Rush, you're such a bad boy." Now, the cartoonist David Horsey is a well-known leftist cartoonist. And it's a funny cartoon. It's actually fun. I love caricature. The proper cartoon would be, of course, Karl Marx holding a whip over the Democrat Party and saying something along the lines that I can't say on the radio. Because Karl Marx wanted to liberate the proletariat from bondage. So, in other words, he reversed the reality as Obama does on a daily basis in his cartoon. The reason I mention this is that poor old Rush is getting lambasted by the vermin on the left to an extent that's so unbelievably unrealistic, when in fact those on the left have such misogyny and such racism in their core and in their genes that it's worthy of commentary. But I'm not here to protect Rush Limbaugh. He doesn't need anyone to protect him, and he certainly doesn't need me to protect him. I don't even exist. I mean, he didn't say a word when I was banned in Britain, and so therefore I will do what I can to help myself, because God helps those who help themselves. The fact of the matter is, we need to stop Obama's tyranny. Forget about infighting. That's the problem. And I keep asking you again, will President Obama transform the greatest engine of freedom the world has ever known into a Stalin-like dictatorship? Or can the American people expose and rid themselves of this regime? The answer is not if we get invented controversy such as the Breitbart tapes. He is the most polarizing president in our history. He is transforming us slowly into Caracas, or is it Beijing, or is it Tehran? Trillions of dollars in new debt, and what's the solution? Print more money, crippling American taxpayers and our children's children. His attorney general has shipped weapons to Mexico. His attorney general has just attacked the NYPD for defending America and New Yorkers from radical Muslims. He's hobbled the most powerful military in the world, reducing the U.S. Navy to the smallest force since 1930 and rendering us unable to maintain our advanced weapons and technological advantages over our enemies who are at our gates. And what does Obama do as Iran spews genocidal dictates, promising to kill all the Jews and to annihilate Israel? He abandons our ally and continues to push a diplomatic solution to this very, very real threat. And Obama accrues power with little opposition, and his oppression creeps down from the top. And I say we, the American people, must stop this tyranny. That's why I wrote Trickle-Down Tyranny. And that's why, again, I have to go back to the Breitbart videos. I think that unless there's something coming that's far more damning, the best thing that the Breitbart group could do is just hold it, because this is not good for the election. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. In fact, it's a present to Obama to keep releasing these benign tapes, which makes the president look like a rather modest fellow, by the way. But if you disagree with me, I'd like to hear from you. Eric in Tucson, Arizona, you're up on the Savage Nation.
Hey, Mike, I love your show. Hey,
thank you.
I was thinking about that. You had a caller not too long ago saying something that if they didn't release it, he was assassinated, and if he did, then he just had a heart attack. Right. And I'm wondering if, since he's dead, what if they switched the tapes on us and then release those just to prove the fact that your caller, maybe he just had the heart attack?
Well, who's they? You mean the Breitbart team are the ones releasing the tapes? It's the Breitbart people who survived, who are running the company, who released them.
Just to keep the conspiracy alive, you know, maybe...
No. Well, but you're not hearing me. I don't know if anyone can hear me because everyone's getting like, fix it. Okay. Who's releasing the tapes but the Breitbart? I'll keep trying to have a conversation. Syracuse, New York. Jason, welcome to the Savage Nation.
Hi, Michael. Thank you for taking my call. I actually disagree with you on this instance. I disagree with you on rare occasions, but on this one I do.
Okay.
I think, first off, the premise here is that this would be a bombshell video, but again, I haven't watched Breitbart's announcing that he was going to release the videos since yesterday, but I don't recall him saying that this was going to be a bombshell. I don't recall Breitbart's team saying it was going to be a bombshell. But yes, sir, I can.
Okay. No, they said that he was going to vet the president. Breitbart screamed at the top of his lungs at AIPAC, I'm going to vet the president. It's going to be a game changer for the election. Basically, he said he's going to derail his presidency. Do you see anything in any of these tapes that would derail the presidency of Obama?
No, well, you know, I want to give it a chance because the team that's been going on CNN and Fox News and some of the other news outlets say that this is the first in a series of videos that will be released. But I do think that these videos are important, and they're important for two reasons. And unfortunately, I think a lot of it's going to get buried, but that relates to the first problem being that this is a blatant demonstration of something that listeners of your show know, but many people out in America don't know, and that is that there is a portion of the tape that's released where I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he's giving a lecture at the university and blatantly admits that he uses the word we, that him and the team and whoever he's working with hid portions of the video that they didn't want America to see in 2008. I think that's very important.
But what are those videos? Where are they? I thought that's what Breitbart was going to release.
Yes, they're the tapes that Breitbart was going to release that they admitted they hid because they felt they would be damaging to the 2000.
Oh, wait, but here are the tapes. I'm playing them for you. I know the tape. It's Charles Ogletree at a 2011 lecture saying is that we hid this during the 08 campaign, and I don't care if they find it now. Well, we found it, and there's nothing in it.
Right. Well, I think that there is something in it, but I don't think it's a bombshell. I know Breitbart got up there and screamed.
Well, here's the point. Why are we focusing on tapes which have no excitement in them whatsoever, nor anything damning in them whatsoever, when what the president has actually done is far more damning and far more dramatic? Why do we have to go back to some tapes when he was a college student at Harvard Law?
I don't think...
You know, if America heard that he had been admitted from Punahou High School to Columbia as an affirmative action student, even though he didn't have the grades, and then they heard he was admitted to Harvard Law School, even though he didn't have the grades at Columbia because he was an affirmative action candidate, and then if they heard every step of the way he was helped because of racial laws and whatnot, you know what? It wouldn't affect one iota, because those who vote for him could care less. Those who vote for him love those racist laws called affirmative action laws, and those who oppose him despise them because they believe in quality, not equality in that regard. There is no equality when you don't have quality. I wrote that many years ago. So, in other words, the battle lines are drawn is what I'm saying, Jason, and I don't think these tapes are going to change anybody's opinion.
And you know, you may be right. I think that it's still good. The more information that comes out about Barack Obama, the better. I think.
But what information came out? That he was a black radical who hung around with other black radicals at Harvard Law? What would you expect? Who should he hang around with? You think what should he do? Be seen at Hillel with a yarmulke?
No, and I agree with you there. But I think one thing that was pointed out by one of the gentlemen from the Breitbart team yesterday when it was released was that basically up until this point, every association that Barack Obama has had, they've been able to, and the media's done this, and his campaign team has done this, is, well, he didn't really know Bill Ayers. He was just on a board with him. He's been able to, I just sat on a pew of Jeremiah Wright's church.
Well, Jason, we know he is a radical. We know he's a lifetime radical. We know he's associated with very bad people. We know his policies are an enactment of everything he believes in. We know he's transforming America. He says he's transforming America. Unfortunately, a goodly percentage of the left wing wants America transformed. Most of us, the majority of us, the predominant number of us, don't want it transformed. And these tapes aren't going to change a darn thing.
Well,
That's
you know
what I'm saying.
In my opinion, I think that if it changes one or two or a few voters' minds, then it's worth it. The more information that's out there, this is Barack Obama on tape embracing this man, this radical, and his idea that white supremacy is at the basis of all social and economic problems, and him saying, "Open your hearts and minds to this man." Is absolutely something that he can't.
That's how people who get advanced by white liberals think. If you think that those who are helped by white liberals then like white liberals, then you don't understand how it works. They hate white liberals. They sneer at them behind their back. Every affirmative action case in this country, at the end of the day, looks at the white liberal as a weakling and a fool. Do you know that or not?
I do. I agree with you there.
I have seen it throughout my entire life, both in academia and outside of academia. And by the way, it's not just true in the United States of America. It's true in every country where the white liberal bends over backwards for a third worlder. After the third worlder's revolutionary zeal is somehow channeled into some revolutionary act like setting off a bomb in Paris during the Algerian unease of the early 1950s. What do you think the Algerian Muslims actually thought about the white liberal women who were collaborating with them and trying to hide them? They talked about them as whores behind their back. They didn't respect them. They hated them. They spit on them. I'll be right back.